Well, students, we're going to keep working on these animal sculptures. I am going to show you a bunch of different shapes that will work, because when you get this back today, if you do a little bit of smoothing, make sure that your vessel is ready to go. If it has any bumps, you can just kind of smooth those out with your finger. Now, most of these shapes that I'm going to use will work for any animal. That's one of the reasons that we brainstorm these ideas first, to think about what shapes you might need to use. So let me just show for an example. I'm going to lay it down. Usually you'll have it upright like this. I'm going to lay it down so you can see it on the camera. For example, if I were to do like a bird, if I were to do an owl, you can see this is kind of a triangle shape that I shaped out of clay. Then I would do these, maybe these eye shapes, maybe some feathers that would go up here. And I'm not attaching them right now. I'm kind of just showing you what it would look like. Maybe like a belly that has some feathers on it. And then maybe these shapes that are kind of semicircle shapes could be my wings. So I really just used circle, triangle shapes, and half circle shapes. So circle, these are semicircles, circles, triangle, and those are triangles too. For example, let me just take these off. We'll take the beak off of this one, and you can see for the, if I were to do a cat or a bear or something, if I did two circle shapes like this, and then I put a triangle shape in between, and then I made a little curved line for the bottom of the mouth, and then I put my eyes on here, and then I made some ears, then that would make like a cat shape or a bear shape. If I were to, let's just leave those on for a second. And let's take this and let's take this part off. And you can see for this one, if you wanted to do a dog, for example, so we'll move this over. I just took a ball of clay and I just kind of flattened it into a really thick circle. And if I take a popsicle stick and I cut it, you can see it's almost going to be right in half. If I cut this in half and then I take this is pretty cool, because if I take this and I cut a little bit off of that, and just cut a thin piece off of this, watch what I'm going to use that for. So I cut just like a thin edge on this, then this would be like the snout for my dog. This is too long right now, but if I cut it a little bit shorter, then this could become my tongue. This could be the bottom of the mouth. And then I could use a little tiny triangle shape like this, and then that could be the snout for my wolf or my dog, okay? Now, I'm gonna take these pieces off because I'm gonna do a pig example. But you can see how shapes will work for pretty much everything. So let's start here. I'm gonna take these eyes off. I'm gonna do on this one, since most animals are gonna have ears, if you take a ball of clay, take a little piece off of this, roll it into a ball. I'm gonna use a little more than I might think, just because I can always trim some off. So let's use a thick ball of clay like this. So roll it into a ball, make it nice and smooth, then take this and flatten it. This is how I got the wing shapes for my owl too. And I made this, and now I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna cut it in half like this. And then you can take this and cut the bottom off and take that away. Then this will make, I can always kind of press them out, but it turns into these triangle shapes that would work well for ears. So let's put those on. Whenever you're putting pieces on, you need to use your stick. If you need to kind of line things up to see where they're gonna go, it kind of made a mark here. So I'm gonna make my score marks. I'm gonna make my score marks on this piece to make my rough texture. I'm gonna make my slip, and I'm gonna take those and I'm gonna push them together. Once I press them together, it's a good idea to kind of roll this clay in. And that's why I made sure that these pieces are pretty thick. So then there's plenty of space to attach them. Once they're attached, if you want to bend it or shape it, you may. Same thing on this side, gonna just score it, make my rough texture. Take this piece, score this one, make my slip, mix my clay and my water, take this one, push that together, press it down, take your stick, kind of press those edges in, smooth it with your finger. Keep in mind I should be doing more smoothing than I'm doing. I'm trying to just keep this quick so you guys have enough time to work. So smooth those in. I decided that kind of the same shape that I already used for making a ball of clay and then flattening it into a circle. That's what I am going to use for the snout here. I want to make sure that I have enough space for my eyes too. So looks like I'm going to have to move this down so I don't run out of space. And so for this snout shape, for eyes, really just take a ball of clay, roll it up. This would be like an eye shape. If it's about this big, you would just take it and flatten it and smooth it into a circle. Never press the clay to the table. And eyes are always going to be two parts, have an outer part and have an inner part for them. Now, once I kind of line this up and I say, okay, well, it's going to need to be here. I got to have some space for my eyes. That would be needing to be moved down here. Once I kind of organize the things that I have, so that looks pretty good. So now that I have things organized, then I can take these off and I'll know where to put this piece. So we'll score this, making my rough texture. Make my rough texture on this. Make my slip, mix my clay and my water. Might as well put some slip here too. Take those, hold it in your hand, kind of press them down, kind of wiggle it a little bit, get that piece to stick. Probably a good idea to smooth around those edges. If you don't think it's sticking well, you can always just take your stick and kind of press it around those edges. Then run that along there, clean that up. Then for your eyes, this is a good technique too. If you just put a little bit of water on here and you just kind of stamp it on there, you're gonna be able to see where to score it. So I can see where that little bit of water was, score that, take this, score this, make my slip, and stick those together. So press those on. I always like to make my eyes pretty big so they're kind of more cartoon-like. Then take the other one, put a little bit of water on it, press it on so you can kind of see where you need to score it. Don't press too hard, because if you do, then it will actually stick. Make my score marks there, make my score marks here, put my slip on here, take those, press those together. Then once this is all pressed on, that's on there good, I'm gonna kind of do some smoothing. I'm gonna put these inside parts on. These don't need score marks, just like a little bit of water, and press those down, those will stick. Then a little bit of water there, press that on. I decided to, this is a good technique too, having some details for the nose, just like the dog had kind of a triangle shaped nose, and the cat did too. I thought I would add some details to the nose here. So I put a little bit of water, press those down. For the finishing part of the mouth and the eyebrows, I'm just gonna take a little ball of clay like this, roll it up, roll it out, move your stuff over so you don't bump it like I just did. And then you could take this popsicle stick and you could cut it into however many shapes you need to make your eyebrows, or this would be kind of an eyebrow shape up here. And just take that, put some water on it, press that down, put some water up here, make that eyebrow shape, press that down. And then I do want to make an end to the mouth, so I just curved this. and then press that down here. My finger's a little bit big to fit in there, but press that in, and I think it's looking like a pretty cool pig sculpture. So the last part that you can do once you have all your pieces made is you can use some of these stick tools to add some details. I think I'm gonna have this pig looking like he's kind of winking. So you can use a stick. If you use the round end, then it'll make a bigger dot. So this eye's gonna be open, but I'll probably give you a knife tool too. And if you use the spoon side of it, that can kind of create kind of a curved line like it's winking. The knife tool, if you use the other end, it makes some nice straight lines. So maybe I might do just like an eyelid here. And put one here. And then I am gonna stamp in some dots for the nose. And I'm gonna add just kind of like a fuzzy texture to these eyebrows. And if it's bumpy, kind of clean it up and make those parts better. Make sure everything else looks like it's smooth. I do want to add just a little. I'm going to bend this ear over a little bit. I think that looks better. And then check the back to make sure that's smooth. Check the backs of these ears, make sure those are smooth then. And if I do have a triangular shaped tool that I'll give you too. This tool, it's a little hard to get it to go in here, but this could make some little triangular textures for the inside. The knife tool could fit in there too. And then I'm just gonna add, I'm gonna straighten this ear out. I'm gonna bend it back over in a minute, and if you have another idea of what you could add to make it look like a cool texture or detail, go for it. So there's my pig sculpture. This one, so I'll set this down here so you can see it. But if you have an animal that has whiskers, maybe you make a few little dots in there. You could add a little bit of pieces of clay to build some fur or something too. So if you have extra time, you can definitely add those extra little details to make it your best. So let's have fun working on them.